You're listening to Mr. Allard's. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, you can see by my hat who the guest is today. It's Sandy Mason, right? With the Texas Parks and Wildlife, American Legion, and all these other things he's involved in. I am sending your stuff that, back to Josh. So while you're visiting, talking, etc., I am going to be forwarded, because you sent us some stuff like 3 weeks ago. And it's like, wow, this guy really is on top of it. He really is very active in this. So, Josh, I'll be sending you a few things here.
Awesome.
These are about 3 weeks ago. But anyway, how you doing, Sandy?
Doing real.
Do you staying out of trouble, more or less? How did the parade go?
The parade was amazing. 4th of July parade in Burleson's always fun. We had a large turnout.
As always, that's one of the most popular things that we do, is that community.
The day before, Joshua had their 250-year celebration. Mm-hmm. What they did down there with the community, the school, the city. Like I tell you, the mayor and city secretary of Joshua put it all out, buddy, and that was amazing. They recognized so many veterans, and then I've been to fireworks shows all over the world. Mm-hmm. That drone show,
I've heard it was really fantastic.
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, drones are the way of the future, aren't they? Yeah. Unfortunately, I never have really gotten behind this drone delivery from Amazon or Walmart. It's just a little too science fiction, too much Jetsons for me. You know what the Jetsons are, don't you, Josh?
I know what the Jetsons are.
Okay, all right, just making sure. Well, you have to help him out. He's he's lived in a cave until the last couple of years, and I'm trying to help him get culturally literate. Anyway, we're going to talk about. Also, the hunting season's coming up, isn't it?
Yes, sir. We got quite a few things starting August 15th.
I always knew when it was hunting season in school, because on the first day of deer season and the first day of duck season or something like that, we're like, where are these guys? I mean, I always have about a dozen absences that day.
Yep. Be that Friday before deer season.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd everybody go?
Exactly right. and
I was there.
Well, and I tell you how seriously they took it. I remember one time one of my coaching friends next door, his classroom's next door, he was really upset about something. I said, hey, buddy, what's up? And he goes, one of our starting players is going to miss tonight's game because it's hunting season. And I thought, I am in Burleson, aren't I? He never heard of such a thing, but welcome to Burleson. Anyway, talk about our sponsors, and then we'll get on the road here. Our place, of course. Have you been to the one here in Crowley by any chance?
I have.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? It's about the same as the quality as all the others, right? Yeah. That's what I like about the place. Is like you can pick any one of the 4 locations, and it's going to be good. You don't have to worry about one, lagging behind. I always go to the one in Burleson, of course, but I have been into the one here in Crowley, and it's great. I have not been to the one in Mansfield because, you got one right down the road. Why would you go to Mansfield? But whatever. Anyway, also last night it was at Gina's Pizza. It was chest night. A little quiet last night, partly because Otto was out of town. He's on vacation as always. He travels a lot, he and his wife. But Gina's Pizza is great. What I like about it is it's going to be good the second day. I got some leftovers in the refrigerator waiting for me back home. So there you go. Also, my friend John Williams, Old Pro Roofing, 817-734-2756. In this time of year, we're not getting any rain, not getting any hail. This is the best time to do the house inspections. And they, that little kind bars going down the wrong gullet. Anyway, sorry, John. Anyway, the point is that this is a good time to get your roof inspected. And they don't just go up there and eyeball it. They give you written reports. And you need these things because if you go in there with a claim, they're going to be looking, the insurance company's going to be looking away not to pay it, right? So if you can show that, hey, no, this is new damage, this isn't from a year and a half ago, then, with a documented inspection, then you're going to be good to go. So there you go. Old Pro Roofing, 817-734-2756. Also, my friend Jeff Kelly, 817-781-0546. That's 781-0546. He's probably one of the very best real estate people in this area. He kids about being the 4th popular, but that's just him being funny. He has a lot of houses that are for sale and for show, and so you can check out the webpage. You can check out his email, and he'll show you some of his properties. And he's got some really nice homes. And he does a really good job marketing, not just because he has the smarts to advertise here, of course, but he'll send you mailers and stuff, and they're very well done. So 817. I'll try it again. 817-781-0546. Also, friend Rod Lewis at the Burleson News Express. You're shaking your head like you know what's going on here. You ever met him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's trying. He and his brother have been on the show, and they'll be on the show again probably in, about a month or so. And so we keep up with him, and he's really doing a really good job of getting those local stories out, which we don't always get. I was
just reading about the new hotel this morning in the paper.
I have not been to my mailbox yet. I heard that was on it, but I get my mail in town, and I haven't been in town much at all, so I need to go by today and get it. But isn't it going to be over off of Hidden Creek or in that development to where, Wild Cigar and Southern Gym and all those are there, that kind of thing? Yeah, that's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be, looks like a very upscale, nice hotel, and it should be able to bring some good clientele in.
Yeah, well, we need something like that because we don't have anything like that. And I mean, the hotels here in town, are good for an overnight stay, but if you want to, if you're here for like a wedding or here for a family reunion, you like a decent place like that. So there you go. Also, my friends over at True Climate Heating and Cooling, 682-244-2019. That's 682-244-2019. Again, much like the roof, you need to get your air conditioner inspected. It goes out this time of year, you got a real problem. And if you do have air conditioning needs, they'll get to it right away. Will Cobb and his sister Emily Cobb will set you right up. And you need this kind of service, shall we say, because it's, you don't want to go without it. We had this has been a long, long time ago, but air conditioning went out about June. And for about 3 days, it was unpleasant. And I can only imagine when it gets even more so with in August, which is, August and September will test you as a Texan even. Anyway, as far as the nonprofits, we can talk about those at the end. I've been making usual, appeals to the food pantries because, they just got through a very busy time, and they're going to pick up a busy time,
Yep. School's fixing to start, so there's going to be more needs there as well.
Well, and also the holiday season is going to jump on us before we even know it. And that's the deal. Just things pass by. Anyway, hello, Aaron. He's our friend from Cleveland, who's a very faithful and devoted watcher and or listener, and I appreciate that very much. So what do you want to talk about first, the hunting or the pest problem? Because I know that's not something that people really think much about, but it's going to affect them. Not, they're at the wallet,
There's going to be a lot of money thrown at an issue that should have been handled differently, but we can get a little more into that. First off, let's go, let's talk a little bit about American Legion has got their monthly meeting this Thursday, 6 p.m. Boulevard Baptist Church. People are not familiar with our post here in Burleson. We are a community service post. We do not do the bingo. We do not do the canteen. We are here for the community. It's about our veterans, our youth, and our community.
It's a lot of it is just fellowship, isn't it?
There is, but we're involved with quite a few things around the community with the cemetery and the flags. We have the park cleanup. We do some things with some of our businesses when it comes to our veteran parking and things like that. And there's a lot going on. So
now we have at our graveyard here in Burleson, there is a spot for veterans, isn't there?
Yeah, we've got quite a few. We put almost 300 flags out for 4th of July, Memorial Day, 4th of July. So
this is an area that supports its military.
Yes,
and it's always a great thing. Of course, before you know it, it's going to be Veterans Day, and they got a big thing over at the B&G. But I'll probably have you on before that occurs. But I know they over at the B&G complex, if you will, they have that flag eagle, and they have a ceremony for Veterans Day. And you probably do you involve the local JROTC for that as well, like you do other things?
We're I'm not sure how they're going to work this year. I know that the fire department has been providing color guard in the past. There was some discussion about one of the veteran groups or maybe the ROTC doing it. So we're waiting to hear a little more back from the city with what they're going to have planned. But we're definitely open to it. I know Jeff Sorrell with the Junior ROTC, he's anything to get the kids out to help. Matter of fact, I'm going to be meeting with him Sunday. We're getting the air rifle range ready for the team to get ready to start competing again. So
Yeah, and y'all did pretty well last competition.
they
right?
won. Burleson Blue Thunder Sporty Rare Rifle Team was our state champion. That makes 5 out of the last 6 years. So we do great here.
Well, that's, again, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, when I first moved to Burleson in 91, there was more kids, I think, were involved in hunting than I would say they are now, because we've kind of evolved into a suburban community. Back then, when I moved in, it was still, I mean, everybody, still went to Fort Worth for stuff, but it was still, it's like its own community, and it still had a lot of, shall we say, hometown feel to it. You might say a lot of traditional activities. I don't know how active they are now, but we had groups, FFA and young hunters type groups that were all over the place. And like I mentioned, did I say this on the air? I don't know, or we talk about how when hunting season started, my classes here emptied out. Was that off the air?
No, we talked about the beginning of the class.
Okay, I get confused, but I'm just saying that it was, I knew when it was hunting season, even if I'm not particularly into hunting myself, even though I'm wearing a camo, so I can. What do you guys call it, Josh? Cosplay or whatever?
It's cosplay.
Cosplay. Okay, good. I got it. Cosplay. All right, that's me. I'm cosplaying right now. Anyway, so they have.
It's that inner redneck coming out.
Well, I got some. I guarantee. I was raised more in fishing than I was hunting. My grandfather took me fishing more a few times. Usually we go to a lake out in East Texas. He really liked over near Dangerfield, and we do those kind of things. As far as like hunting, that really wasn't part of my upbringing.
Right.
So of course in Plano. When I was in Plano in the late 70s, it wasn't like Plano is now, which is like basically a big city, right? Back then, it was just growing, but there still had a whole lot of undeveloped territory around it. And so I had hunting friends, and they go hunt out there too. But anyway, so American Legion, I'm getting off the track here. American Legion is going to be pretty busy. I also want to invite y'all to the North Texas Giving Day on the September 17th. All right, I don't know, you heard me talk about it before, so we'll put you down for a spot. I got to probably promote that a little bit on the Facebook coming up. So just for those who are hearing about American Legion really for the first time, like my guest yesterday, just moved into town, veteran, 30-year veteran. What does the American Legion offer these potential new members?
Well, the American Legion is a 100-year-old veteran service organization that's dedicated to supporting the veterans' families. We have our 4 pillars of the American Legion dealing with, youth Americanism, the veterans, and the community. One of the things that people need to realize, American Legion was driving force behind VA benefits, GI Bill, a lot of things that go on. We are a national organization that there's not a senator or congressman that doesn't know who we are.
Oh, I bet that's true.
And, we are chartered by the United States Congress as a veterans group. That's one thing we can say about none other groups can. And then when it comes to looking at veterans through the Veterans Affairs, going down to the Veterans Administration, the American Legion has people in place that work with us, service officers, that we can work hand in hand with those people at the VA center to look at your benefits, look at how we can get you more care. And it is, it's nice to have the camaraderie of other veterans. It's fun to get meeting and doing things, having the dinners, having the meetings. But when it comes down to the veterans' families and those needs, you need somebody out there who can help you.
You bet
and
you
we're
do.
good about that. And for the people who go on Facebook and see these people advertise them. We'll get you 100%. We'll get you this. We need your rating, and then they want you to pay for that. You'll never pay for that through the American Legion. You're not going to be tied to a contract or anything like that. We're here to help as much as we can. And I'm going to tell you right now, we got one of the best service officers in the area, Donald Bridge. We call him Sarge. He was the National Service Officer for the American Legion for a number of years, and he is certified again in Texas to be a service officer, and he's agreed to be our service officer here in Burleson. So we're very, very fortunate to have him, and you won't find a smarter guy because he helped write the book.
Well, you mentioned about the members of Congress all know your names and such. I think people should know that outside of Veterans Affairs, you really are an apolitical organization.
We don't sit and let people come in and talk about their candidacy. We're not going to have somebody come in and do things. If somebody wanted to come to a VFW post or American Legion post or to disabled American veterans, the local post has some leeway in what they do if they want to allow members of a school board that are running for a position or they're, people are against them. As long as you give them equal time, that sort of thing's fine. But we're not going to sit there and say, we'll go vote for this person.
Right.
We're not going to do what a police association would do where they would endorse a certain candidate. We're not going to do that.
Right. I mean, you have your opinions, of course, but that's what they are. They're not official
we earn the
stances.
Right to have that opinion, and everybody's got one. And, but, again, we know what we're there for is the veterans, family, the community, and the youth.
I would like to think that when you walk into a member of Congress's office, you get a pretty good reception.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody opposing what y'all stand for and what you're advocating for.
The biggest issue comes when it's the funding.
Yeah.
Veterans Affairs is not cheap. Military is not cheap. Homeland Security is not cheap. So it all ties together when you think about it.
You're right. And, unfortunately, most people think the American Legion is being made up of, veterans of your era, but you're getting some younger ones now, aren't you?
We are. It's slowly coming around where the younger veterans are coming into the service organizations, but we got families, baseball, soccer, school kids, all this stuff. And the veterans who are returning from the Middle East, they need time with that family. And they don't miss the Friday night football game. Don't miss the Saturday afternoon time with the kids. Don't miss the opportunity to go do stuff. But know that there are people out there that can help you as well.
When I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, I played American Legion baseball. Do y'all still do that kind of thing?
We have sponsored a team here locally before.
It was a whole league.
Yeah, the American Legion has some of the posts have baseball teams with them. Having people dedicated to that to get the time to do it is hard to do.
Right. I don't know if they still have their own leagues, but American Legion was. Yeah. It's kind of like Pop Warner football, or.
And we have a little League World Series with the American Legion and still with the baseball, but it's the time and commitment for a lot of people.
Right. And y'all are a volunteer organization. You don't get paid for doing this, do you?
No, sir.
Would you like to talk about the hunting, or you talk about the pest control?
Well, let's go one into the other. So let's start off with this coming Saturday. Come up to Bass Pro Shops in Fort Worth and see us, myself, Randy Spradlin, our North Texas Coordinator for Education. We're going to be up there doing an education station for Texas Parks and Wildlife. We're going to be talking about hunters' education, upcoming hunting seasons, our Texas Youth Hunter program, and our mineral hunt program, and other options that we have available.
When you talk about the Bass Pro Shop, you talk about like near DFW Airport?
The one up off Cabela's Drive when you're going up to Alliance area in Fort Worth. Yeah. That's the one we're going to be at.
Okay. Now I got it. Because I know there's one.
There's like 3 in the area between here and Garland and stuff. So,
and I remember the first time I went to one of those hunting and fishing shops like Cabela's. I was astounded. I mean,
it's kind of fun.
Well, it was like Disney World for the outdoorsman, and it was what got to me was I don't know if there's anything I could ever conceive that they had already thought of first that had to do with hunting or fishing. I mean, every doodad, gadget, and widget you could think of, they had. And I haven't. The last one I've been to was about a year ago in Oklahoma City, and it was, just overwhelming.
Yeah.
But and also when my kids are smaller, I remember Bass used to have like wildlife. I mean, real wildlife. Like a petting zoo kind of thing. But it really wasn't so much like go in and pet them, but you could feed the deer and things like that. And they thought that was kind of neat.
Oh yeah, it's always fun when you get into something like that.
Yeah.
We have some in the area. There are a few people who are breeders that have tours, and people can do things like that as well. A lot of it in Bosque County.
One of them had a huge bison in front of it. That's kind of neat. But it's always enjoyed that, and I like being around that. It just hunting's not really something though. You just say, I'm going to pick it up like you would golf or something like that. You're dealing with a weapon, and essentially, so you need the proper training and know how to be safe with it.
Right, and that's going to be our next thing is Saturday, August 22nd, coming up, is a hunter education class here in Burleson. So licenses go on sale August 15th.
Well, where is this event held?
And the class is going to be over at the United Cooperative Service Building on 35.
Oh yeah,
Burleson
I know what it
Boulevard.
is. Yeah,
Right there at Briar Oaks and or Bethesda and 35.
Bethesda,
Bethesda and 35. But the class will start at 8 a.m. If anybody needs to take that class, pre-register, please. I mean, if you showed up the day of the class, we'll work you in. But it's best to pre-register so we have plenty of books and have everything we need. There is a state fee of $15, and that covers all the materials and your testing and everything we have to do. It's a one and done. You come in, 6 hours of classroom. We do a little Q&A before, test afterwards. And with a lunch break, we're out of there in about 8 hours.
So you're not going to be firing weapons, are you?
No, we do a couple skills while we're in there. We'll talk about things, but we have training firearms. So if somebody who has got questions about that, we have hands-on sessions. We'll ask people who've never handled a firearm to help us with some of our drills so they get an opportunity to do things in a safe and monitored situation. And it works out really well to us. 9 years old is the minimum age, and up from there.
Yeah. Well, do you recommend a certain type of hunting weapon, hunting rifle?
The one that works for you.
Okay, there you go. That's kind of where I was getting at, because a lot of people think I got to have this $high stuff and all this, and get yourself a gun.
You can spend a lot of money on a fancy firearm. Somebody who's going to start out is a dove hunter, for example. A 20 gauge or 12 gauge pump shotgun works very, very well. And then you just follow the rules about 3 shells in it, make sure it's plugged, things like that.
Yeah.
Somebody who's starting out deer hunting are going to have a youth they're going to start out deer hunting with. A simple bolt-action rifle you can have a couple of shots with. That makes it well. A nice scope. You don't need a $3,000 scope on a $800 rifle. That's just
right.
But if you spend the $400 or $500 on a decent bolt-action rifle, something that'll, a 243 or whatever, the calibers are out there. But and then a quality optic. You can buy a $1,000 rifle, and if you put a $100 scope on it, $100 optic, you got a $100 firearm.
Yeah,
it's only as good as the optics are.
Right. So, well, that's the thing is, all people think you have to go through this great expense, but you really don't. But you don't also want to. Don't be cheap about it, because it's also, I always think that the quality of the weapon's a safer weapon.
Well, the safety is definitely a part of it. The quality of the firearm makes a big difference. But remember, the person who's getting into hunting, they're making a lifelong commitment.
Yeah, they are.
A lot of people you'll find once they start, they want to continue. Some of us just can't stop.
Yeah. Well, also, if you want to talk about hunting, it's more than just getting your weapon, going out and taking a few shots. I mean, you got to, first of all, I'm sure it teaches you patience. Second of all, there is a lot of things you need to be able to do it right.
Yeah.
You need a hunting blind?
We teach different types of hunting and scenarios for our classes, but the Texas Youth Hunter program, like the hat you got on, is for 9 to 17-year-olds. We take those kids out, those youth and their parent, and the bulk of our hunts are in a stand or a blind, and it's a controlled environment. And it's a great opportunity for somebody who's never experienced hunting to go out and learn it with somebody that's experienced. And landowners that are with us are wonderful. The person who is trying to hunt on their own, you have to understand the game. If you're a turkey hunter, if you're a white-tailed deer hunter, if you're trying to do pig hunting or exotics, each one of them has their own mannerisms. They have their own way of doing things. Certain areas you'd want to hunt versus others that wouldn't be as rewarding. And patience, definitely. Best day of fishing.
That's what my
always,
grandfather taught me. My grandfather, when we went fishing, like I said, out in Dangerfield or when we just want to do a day trip or something like that, we go to Texoma.
Yeah.
And, and if you're in a hurry, that ain't the sport for you, is it?
I grew up with, my grandfather and dad and other grandfather. They loved to fish, and I still enjoy fishing, but hunting's
better for you, huh?
Well, it's rewarding, but now that I get to share that and build traditions with these other people and their families, and man, I still hear back from people I went with 10 years ago. They keep me up to date about how their kids are doing, and it's amazing. We just have a great time.
Well, and like you, my grandfather was, catch and release unless it was of a certain size, and we'd eat it. All right, we weren't there for trophies. Now, people want to shoot for trophies, fine, but y'all emphasize using the meat, consuming the meat.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
All of our hunts now, we try to have at least one meal that we'll use venison or feral hog or something in. I've been able to get some elk in the past or bison and put those in with our meals that we serve and people get that experience. This past February was amazing.
Yeah.
One of our one of the ranches we go to up in Palo Pinto County, they were able to harvest a aoudad and a whitetail. So we had Barbary sheep and venison together, and we made fajitas on Saturday night. You should have seen these kids. They were like, we couldn't keep the plates full.
Well, I have not had elk.
It's wonderful.
Okay. I don't know. I feel kind of bad being an ex-Burleson elk. Or well, you're always an elk, right? I don't want to say ex. I mean, always an elk since I was there so long. But I've never had that. I've had, bison, which I thought was pretty good, and a lot of people like it because it's supposedly leaner than cattle. But no, I am a red meat guy. My only time I eat fish really willingly was with my grandfather. I'm not a fish person at all. But anyway, that being said, as far as, one of the things y'all teach, which I really like, is conservation. And that's what always strikes me about hunters, as well as a lot of the people in the ag business, is that they're very environmentally conscious. Now, a lot of these, yahoos in the media who don't know what they're talking about don't understand that. I mean, but every hunter I've met, every farmer I've met, every livestock-related guy I've met are more environmentally conscious than maybe some suburbanite deep breather tree hugger, because they know that land has to sustain to sustain them.
And that's one of the things we'll talk about in our Hunter Ed program is we have a session, if you will, or a chapter that deals with management and conservation. Carrying capacity of the land is something we discuss where you can look at a piece of property and say, I can run X number of cows out here on this much grass, and I have water for it, or I can put these many horses. When you look at the land's overall carrying capacity, if you have livestock out there, you also have wildlife. There's rabbits, there's squirrels, all the other stuff. Now we look at that as a whole environment of carrying capacity for that land and what sustains that for a year. What will impact that? Drought, fire, environmental disaster. Those all have to be looked at as well. What could or could not happen while we're doing that? So the wildlife will be affected as much as the livestock or the domesticated pets could be. So,
Do you have any slides for us on the hunting, or is you got most of your slides are on?
I didn't put that in.
Okay.
We have another topic that I guess we ought to go ahead and get into.
Well, this one is from the chronic wasting disease. You've been on there before, and you talked about that with deer
Yes, sir.
about a year ago, roughly. Is that still an issue?
Yes, sir. It still is in Texas and several states. Chronic waste disease is a protein prion that will affect white-tailed deer and certain other animals in their genus species. So some elk, mule deer, some of the exotics, Sika deer and things like that are not able to have chronic waste disease in them. But, there's other parasites, other issues that deal with all of our wildlife that can come out. But chronic waste disease in Texas, for the white-tailed deer hunter, you have an outdoor annual, and you also have the Texas Parks and Wildlife website. Go to the website or go to the outdoor annual and look at the county that you're going to be hunting in. That county will tell you if there is a restricted zone in there. That restricted zone means that you must report your harvest.
There's a list that
And
Josh
there's
is
a list
rolling
of them.
up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's on our Texas Parks and Wildlife website right there.
Now, I have a question about the chronic waste disease. Particularly if I'm a newbie, a rookie, would I know this deer has this problem just by looking at it?
In the late stage, yes. So chronic waste disease affects the brain and the top of the spinal column of a white-tailed deer or a mule deer. What will happen is in the late stages, the deer will begin drooling. The deer will droop its head down. The front legs will be out. They forget to eat. They forget to drink, and they waste away. And that's what the term wasting disease, because they literally just drop dead from not eating and not drinking.
Now, let's say I'm hunting and I kill a deer with a chronic waste disease in the early stages.
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't know it. How would I know it?
So that's the reason we have these check stations. You go to a check station, and there are state biologists. There are people like me who've been certified to collect samples. And what we'll do is we'll go into the base of the animal's skull, and we will collect glands and tissue off the spinal column or spinal cord and stuff. And that is put into a container and sent to Texas A&M, Texas Animal Health Commission. They'll run the test there, and it takes a few days. You'll get a notification back. When you get that test done, you're given a receipt, and there'll be a tracking number on that receipt, and you will be able to go online and look at that. If you were to have a positive case, you will be notified.
What if I didn't do all this, I just because of ignorance or arrogance or whatever, and I ate the deer? Would I have some bad effects?
Right now, all of the testing is showing that it's not being transferable to humans. Is there patient X out there who has an immunocompromised system, who maybe has a genetic alteration that maybe that would possibly be there? We don't know, but you can never say 100% yes, it won't happen. There is that 1/10 of 100% that says anything's possible.
Of course.
But right now, with all of the studies that have been done, all the transference studies that they're trying to do, it's very limited to the white-tailed mule deer population and elk species, and hopefully it stays that way.
I just was, what is an odd question, but okay, I go out there, I take out a deer, get it tested. What am I doing with the deer while I'm waiting for the results?
If you harvest an animal that's in a zone that if you take it to a processor like in Joshua, where Tim Bruce has his place down there at Joshua Deer Processing, for example.
Okay, I've seen it.
You go in there and Tim, turn in the deer and say, hey, by the way, this is from this area. Let him know that. They can put that deer, that animal aside. It's not going to spread the disease. That's not how it happens. But if you're going to have to wait, 4 to 7 days to get that information back, that animal is fine in that cool, in that chiller. And it's basically, it's just like if you had beef or you had a goat or anything else, there's an aging process. There's a 1 to 2 week process that we let those animals age before we butcher them down and break them into steaks and stuff. So you're not going to be any problem there. If you bring it home, and you're waiting to find out, then you want to keep it packed on ice, keep everything together nicely. And if you get a negative result, cut it up and put your steaks and sausage in the freezer. If you got if you get a positive result, you have to make a decision at that point. Do I want to feed that to my family?
Right, and then it might just discard it in some manner.
You would, well, if you decide not to, if you got pets that you could make dog food out of, something like that, it's fine. But the long bones, they need to be disposed of in a landfill. You're not dumping it out in somebody's pasture or creek. We're not doing that. But with that also,
You'd just be attracting coyotes, wouldn't you?
yeah, well, the CWD, that in the zones and it outlines you need to go into the outdoor annual and read long bones and different parts of the animal need to stay on the property that it was harvested on. So you're taking basically a quartered animal away from the property with proper identification.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you look at that if you're going to be in one of those zones.
Now, you sent me some very appetizing pictures of screwworms.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So
I was like, oh Lord,
Okay.
I'm just going to forward that to Josh.
Yeah, so here we go.
Okay.
back in May, our Texas Hunter Education Instructors had our annual conference, and during the conference, New Woods Screwworm was brought up as a optional class that we could take, and we got to talk to our state, one of our state veterinarians at Texas Animal Health Commission. We also got the director of big game for Texas Parks and Wildlife, and they did a really good course. A lot of good information came out on it. This slide right here, Screwworms in Texas, how to keep your pets safe. Animal welfare leaders, our veterinarians across the state are warning your pet owners to remain vigilant about the state battles outbreak of New World Screwworm. It's not just a cattle disease.
That's how it's been advertised.
Any warm-blooded animal
Yeah.
is susceptible. Humans, dogs.
Ooh, humans can get screwworm?
Yes, sir.
Yuck.
Any warm-blooded animal. Okay, so that's where you come back to thinking about what are we talking about. You could be going down the side of the road. You could be out at the lake at the boat ramp. You could, you have a mouse that gets in a trap and you throw it outside of the barn. Common flies are going to find that, and they're going to lay eggs on it. Those eggs are going to create maggots. Maggots are going to eat that dead flesh. It's unpleasant. It smells. There's going to be, shrug. It's not fun to watch. New World Screwworm does not eat dead flesh like a typical maggot. It eats live flesh. If an animal has a wound from scraping a barbed wire fence, deer fighting each other during the rut, you have sheep in mating season, you have squirrels out there climbing around, get a cut on the limb or something from sliding down a tree. It could be rabbits being chased by a coyote that gets a wound on it. If that screwworm fly can get on that wound, lay those eggs, that parasite then starts consuming the host. It is fatal if it's not treated.
Well, now, that's a very pleasant thought you've left us with,
Yes, sir.
Sandy. The thing about it, what I've read, is that this was not a problem until just recently. And
So we had screwworm in the 50s and 60s in
Right,
Texas.
right.
And it affected the cattle industry. It also affected the whitetail industry. Everything, it was out there. With social media, news recognition, everything out now, it's more pronounced and more in front of people than it was then. My grandfather, I remember him talking about screwworm and how they would look at all their cows weekly and treat things in any type of cut. They had these, he called Corona dip, and he had this blue spray or purple spray. And I mean, they were very adamant about making sure his cows and his brothers, my great uncles, they all took care of their livestock. They looked at it. We had other relatives who had chickens, daily walking their chicken houses, checking on those, And when they're talking, trying to figure out tens of thousands of chickens a day in these, you're like, wow. So what you got on this slide right here, Department of Agriculture, the most recent Texas case was last Wednesday in Terrell County, Texas. That's a border county down around Val Verde County. It's just north of Del Rio, to give you kind of a reference. That Terrell County active screwworm case includes 1 each in Sutton and Starr counties and 2 in Brewster County. So those are all border counties or just right off the border. Sutton County is at Sonora, which is north of Pecos County and over by Valverde. So it's just inside the state coming up. What you see in the bottom part of that picture is those green pupae, those maggots there. Those are bred as sterile flies. And that's how we're combating the New World screwworm in Texas. Is those maggots are sterile, they are bred out, and then they're released in the areas where they're at, so they will breed into the screwworm population and render them useless and inert.
So what can you do about this? I mean, you said this can take any live host,
Yes, sir.
not just cattle, which is what we're all reading about.
Right.
But let's say, your dog gets it.
Okay, so
How can you treat it?
the first thing you look for is if the wound has a maggot, a worm in it. That is your first indicator that this isn't going to be the house fly on there. This isn't a gnat that got on there. They go to dead tissue. Yes, we use maggots in some therapy for diabetics who have, cavitated wounds or pus wounds and stuff. They can do the cleaning with that in certain medical fields. But your pet, your animal, you get a cut, whatever, it shows signs of a maggot infestation, or it has those little white, looks like egg sacs around the lips of it and stuff. They're very hard to see. I mean, imagine half a flea you're looking for. Your veterinarian can treat it. We have some treatments that you can get through, like Tractor Supply, Veterinary Supply. You go in and you get those approved treatments, approved medications, and you have to clean that wound. And we'll tell you right now, a dog does not want you trying to grab, or a cat does not want you trying to grab that stuff and pull it out of them. They're going to fight you. The best thing to do is you have a veterinarian do it. Plus, it gets identified. The veterinarian can take that, pull it out, and send it to the Texas Animal Health Commission for a positive identification.
Isn't so? This medication, this treatment, is not something you go pick up at Walmart, is it?
Not at Walmart. It's there's certain areas that you can pick up things for your livestock or for your pets.
Tractor Supply, something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's sprays that are out there, and then we have deterrents that are approved that you can get for your livestock, for your pets. The other part of that is the wildlife. Unless you're a breeder in a facility, you're not checking your deer herd every day. You're not checking wild turkeys out there. You're not looking at the pheasant and quail on the ground. You're not looking at the cottontails and the jackrabbits. Where we're going to see those is when the hunters, starting in September, are going out in the field and prepping their areas, or trying to do their feedlots, or doing things. They're getting ready to go into the dove huntings. All of a sudden, they start seeing the deer, maybe, or a raccoon, something that has a gaping wound or has a nasty-looking wound that's got activity on it. Maybe we'll see it on a field camera for somebody who has a tracking camera out there looking for deer, try to, see what that camera is going to show on a feed plot or on a feeder site. Those are what we have to start looking at, but to report that, we go to Texas Animal Health Commission and say, hey, we got this. Or we call the local county biologist, I've got this picture, or I saw this deer that's got a wound. That is a whole lot harder to treat. How do we capture that animal, or do we put that animal down and quarantine that and try to do things?
If you come across a deer or an elk or something like that with this screwworm infestation,
Right.
what are the symptoms would it show?
What it's going to have is it's going to have a wound that has active maggots on it.
And let's say that we shoot one of those. We're not attentive, or we haven't heard Mr. Allard's neighborhood, and we're not paying attention to this stuff.
Right.
And you eat this animal.
If that wound is accessible, you would simply cut out that area. If it was in a front shoulder, when you field dress the animal, you would discard that part of it.
So
The rest of it's fine.
The rest of it's
Remember,
fine, okay.
We're talking about a living parasite that is dedicated to live flesh. So once you go around that area that's infected by the live flesh, it's not like CWD or scabies or something that's in the bloodstream or in the lymph glands and stuff like that, where the whole host can be infected. It's designated in a one area of that animal where that wound is, and that's the active part.
So you don't have to discard the whole animal.
No, sir. No.
But still, it's just
They're not going to be pleasant to deal with.
yeah, right. And because I guess I had this image that the screwworm infests the animal, and like you just kind of mentioned, it spreads throughout the body. But you're saying no, it stays localized to that area.
In the initial infestation, it does. What you got to remember, that screwworm, and once those eggs go into maggots, and those maggots have their pupae period and they turn into flies, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to lay eggs on that same host until that host expires. So it's not going to be just one area for long. It will continue to spread throughout the animal. And, there are some pictures I could not send you because they are beyond graphic.
Well, Josh likes that kind of stuff, right?
You can find them online.
You don't think so?
Not particularly. no.
Okay. And, well,
I'd like to eat lunch.
that's what I'm
today.
thinking. I'm going to have lunch in a few minutes across the street with a buddy at the Heat House, and I'm like,
Don't
thanks
don't look ahead of time.
No. But
Do you want me to throw the picture back up?
No, I'm good. I'm
So
good.
if you come across an animal, like I say, regular viewing, your game cameras, observation of wildlife, when you're out hunting, you're out nature walking, you're out somewhere and you see any of the warm-blooded mammals that we can think about like that, and they talk about, well, birds can't get them because of the flies. We're not going to say never. Okay, when you think of upland game birds like pheasant and turkeys and stuff that are on the ground, if they have a wound, there's an opportunity for that fly to.
What I've been reading, though, I haven't been reading about the screwworm problem in terms of wildlife, more about the Texas cattle industry.
Yes.
And as far as why it reoccurred, I do know there have been budget cuts, but I really don't want to get into the politics of it because it's what difference does it make right now, right?
Let's say that mismanagement led to it getting out of Panama, where we had a control zone, and once it got north of that treatment area that was going on around the Panama Canal and then Central America, once it got across the border, it's coming.
Yeah, right.
So what we thought was going to be several years away is here now.
Yeah. So I have opinions on that because I think this is a very vital public safety thing, and there you are.
This just came out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you sent it this morning. Another lovely, appetizing picture.
Well, this is a picture of an adult screwworm, and if you looked at that, the fly that I don't want to say it's a screwworm. It is the fly that produces the maggot or the worm. Once that fly is off, what it does is it's going to find another host to infect. The FDA authorized the use of this Click product. It is a spray-on type preventative, and what it'll do is it's for wound sprays, for treating livestock, producers, veterinarians, and wildlife managers, in addition to help with the screwworm infestation. This is a product that is now available for the person that's going to have livestock. If you've got working dogs that you take out in the field, you need something like this.
Where would you get this?
This can be ordered online, and I believe, what I understand, they're going to be trying to get this into veterinary supply stores and probably like your Tractor Supplies and places like that, maybe Atwoods.
Atwoods,
like
I was going to say them because
so look on their websites if you're going to need it and see if it's available to order online or go from there.
Well, I was talking to my cousin on the way over here, and he's a retired cattle rancher. And he says and he's in Oklahoma, and he says the boys up there are very concerned because they're finally getting the stock numbers to relatively pre-COVID or whatever. I mean, the last few years have been down.
Right.
And they're finally getting their herds up to a certain size, and here this comes out of nowhere, practically, they thought. And he's old enough to remember the old timers talking about it. And he was a kid during screwworm infestations in the 60s. And so he remembers all that, and it's a problem. It's a problem.
In the mid-'70s, I remember my grandfather working cattle, and he was so scared that they might not got all of them because he would check his cows once a week, and we'd run through and just look at them. I can remember him even to that day. That I think the biggest, try not to let my wildlife guy go. The Texas cattle industry is always forefront in talking about livestock. They got a lot of money. They got a lot of advertising ability. And right now they're putting a lot of information out about this because that is a multi-million industry in this state.
Well, you bet you it is.
Cattle is king in a lot of ways. You know, you talk about cotton king in the South, cattle and oil in Texas, buddy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, our hunters spend millions and millions of dollars every year, too, being out in the field between our whitetail hunters, our turkey hunters, and our, you know, other people who do small game or varmint hunting. There's a lot of money tied up in that, but we don't have that advertising group that goes out there and promotes it like the cattle industry does.
Yeah, I have concerns about
Yes.
it because now, thanks a lot. But when I was reading about it, so can be completely ignorant.
Right.
I was concerned because it seemed like this is very difficult to prevent spreading. It isn't like you take your cattle and you put them aside, quarantine them, like mad cow disease or something like that, because it's spread by flies.
Right.
You know, that's a very difficult thing to prevent.
So the control agent for this, the biggest way to control it is for the breeding facilities that are breeding the sterile fly.
Mm-hmm.
Once they have an identified area, they release millions of those flies into those areas to breed out the active flies. That's one of the ways we get rid of them. The program kind of got away from them, and now it's coming back, but it's not what it was years ago. This little thing you see here that we have up here right now, when you get down about halfway, Moore Air Base facility in Edinburgh, Texas, completed in February 2026, allows the USDA to receive flies from other locations based at distribution for Texas, and they're capable of dispersing 100 million flies per week. The Moore Air Base production facility in Edinburgh, groundbreaking started in April. Phase 1 should be done by the end of 2027. The expedited effort is to try to get that thing online by the summer of 2027, a year from now, to produce 100 million flies per week, with phase 2 by 2028 to get us up to an additional 200 million.
These are all sterile flies,
Yes,
right?
sir. At 300 million flies per week, that puts you to the area that they used to treat on the Panama Canal weekly.
Well, I'm going to segue now and talk about our food pantries, all right? You know, because I've been doing that. Yeah, I know.
Right.
What a great segue there, wasn't it?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's why I'm to get the
Step
big
right
money.
into it.
Well, you know, I was talking to Crowley House of Hope yesterday.
Right.
And they, you know,
Good show.
You know, they're good people, aren't they? I mean, they're all these food pantry
All of
people
our
are.
groups in the area do a wonderful job.
You know, and but they need our help. You know, they are well supported, but the demand is high, and I've seen more people in there that you wouldn't expect to be in there. Right? Not that I knew them personally. I don't. But you know, people
the
think
numbers
that,
are going up and up.
yeah, we're talking about working people. We're talking about the elderly. That was always a shock to me, because we always think the elderly got all these government programs to support them, but you know, no, it's not quite like that. I mean, not everybody is living the retired life at age 75 or whatever,
Right.
and so there is some tough times. And also, if you get a car repair or you get our friends talk about utility bills in the summertime. And you know, and in the winter, and so
I read that 80% of our retirees are $1,000 check away from not being able to live month to month.
well, I've read similar articles, and I believe it. You know, and you know, we all think the retirees are all at Fort Lauderdale playing mahjong or something like that. That ain't what's happening.
No.
And so we need to provide the support to these groups. You know, money is always helpful because it do help a little bit with the bills, things of that nature. Usually utility bills on a limited basis, but we can also support them with money so they can buy what they need. and also go by and drop off some cans, drop off some produce. That's what I've been hearing a lot. Is produce is hard to keep on the shelves, and I personally, I don't advertise this because I want to be pat myself in the back too hard, but I Promises is part of my church, and so we support it that way. And they tell me that produce is hard to keep, and we like to provide things that you can make meals from, as opposed to just temporary stuff. Because there's a lot of dignity in preparing meals.
Yes.
A lot of these ladies that are bringing in single moms, whatever, want to prepare meals for their children because it makes them feel like they're doing their duty as a mother, and so we want to encourage that. So anyway, so that's all good.
Box top meals, or like the macaronis or pastas that can be.
Chef
cooked
Warrior D
in
is on sale, or was last week, and that's the thing about it. The kids, I loved Chef Warrior D ravioli when I was a kid. Maybe that's why I'm diabetic now. Who knows? But anyway, I loved that stuff. But anyway, they had. But it's also, cereal is another one. Yeah. But produce is right now the current thing. On Monday, I have Tina Michael on. We're going to be talking about her Mobius Foundation. And I don't know, the chess club. She kind of runs that thing for Ottawa on Monday nights. Tuesday is tentative, so I better just hold off on announcing it. I have somebody that is, a routine guest, but he's going to go and see about his schedule. So I would rather just hold off on that. And if not, I'll just rant and rave about something, as always. Josh always enjoys those shows.
Yeah,
he likes those because I bring him in, and and being our resident communist, it's kind of nice to get the other perspective. And but no, he's not. You think I'd hire a commie? I don't think so. So I'll let you finish off the show. Tell us what we need to know.
Well, we have some opportunities for our community to be out and help with our local veterans. We have some opportunities through Texas Parks and Wildlife to take our youth out and do things and get them out in the field. And if you're interested in other programs, go to the website, start looking. There's so much that people don't realize is available, from hunting to fishing to state parks, just to road trips to go see historical landmarks around the state. There are a lot of things we can do. I would encourage anybody that's interested in being outdoors, especially if you're interested in the hunting fields, take your class. And new this year, anybody's going to buy a license from Texas Parks and Wildlife, you must now have an ID when you get that.
I'd hope so.
Well, it's been, you could order it online as a digital license. Unfortunately, some people figured a way to take advantage of that. Yeah. And then
as always,
somebody goes and pays their money, buys a license, goes out and harvests several deer over here, and then they turn around and they tell a little white lie, oh, I lost my license, and they buy a replacement license. Well, unless the game wardens or people are tracking those and looking at how many places this guy went to harvest a deer, or they get a phone call, hey, my buddy's killed like 7 or 8 deer this year. It's really hard to track that stuff.
It's a lot of meat.
But there's a lot of people out there who do that stuff.
Wait, they sell it, I guess?
Well, not so much they sell it, but you have people who give it away to friends or use it, whatever. You got some folks that just, for some reason, think it's rules don't apply to them, which is crazy. Well-regulated hunting is our best conservation tool in the state of Texas.
You bet you it is.
It is.
Well, so you remember this, Josh, next time you go hunting?
Sure.
Have you been hunting before?
I've never been hunting, but I was years ago enrolled in the junior NRA. So I do like shooting. I haven't shot at anything that isn't a piece of paper.
Yeah, right. Me neither. I'm not a hunter.
And Josh is a perfect candidate for our mentor hunt program as a young adult to go out and do that.
Yeah, the only shooting I've been doing is at targets, and a range.
Right.
I don't know. Did you hear the show about 3 weeks ago about a young lady, a former student of mine, who got shot by somebody who was careless shooting an outdoor firearm?
No, I didn't.
Well, it's her name is Kelly Petty, and she got shot in her own home somebody who was very careless, you might say. So you had to be really careful with that firearm.
Yes. It is not a toy. It is a tool, and people need to respect those tools.
Mm-hmm. All right. I will see y'all on Monday with Tina, and then I think that's right. I want to make sure, because I sometimes I say, oh, I'm going to do this, do that, and then I find out no, I'm right. It's Tina Michael, and then I'm pretty sure I know who's going to guest be on the 18th, but I'll let them, make sure their schedule works. I also have Tracy Pope on in about 2 weeks. I look forward to that. He's the new director of Promises, and he'll be talking about the food pantry. You got September 17th on your schedule, right? Or Gina's for National Giving Day.
National Giving Day, yes, sir. We'll do that. Hopefully, I'll see you a week or two before Veterans Day, and we can talk about what's going on.
Before you leave, let's put it on the schedule. Yeah. Thank you, Josh, for all the grotesque pictures you put on the screen. All right. And we will see y'all tomorrow.